Welcome to the WellPlayed DLC podcast, Australia's juiciest gaming podcast. I'm your host for this week, Adam Ryan. I'm joined by Ash Whaling.
Howdy and hello, avid listeners. How are we doing?
And the most important sore tummy in Australia, it's Nathan Hennessy making his return. Hello, my friend.
Is it getting uncomfortable in here, boys? It's just me. Nah, it's a pleasure to be back.
Welcome back, mate. How have you been? How are you?
Look, tummy's been better, but yeah. Now all is as well as it can be at the moment in this fine, brisk, cold, middle of winter day.
Boys, speaking of the word brisk, for the people listening at home, you're going to miss this, but if you're watching the video, it's a Nana blanket.
Oh, yeah. Go.
Nana blanket over here. We got a beanie down below.
Hey, see, this is how we stay warm.
I've got a little 5-fin oil heater just out of frame. Bless.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Tassie classic, that one.
We are in the brisk days, aren't we?
Yeah. Nathan,
but are our fingers sufficiently warm tonight?
Oh, mate, I've got them in the kangaroo hoodie
in the
pocket,
in the old pouch, mate.
Yep, absolutely. I've got to. Otherwise, they freeze off. Genuinely, last winter, I work from home, office job, typing away, and I could feel my fingers starting to like cramp and freeze, and I was worried that I was going to get frostbite. And they were just going to shatter.
And then you get the creaky joints as well, which just feel completely off-putting when you're like not 80 years old. Like, oh
yeah,
no,
really not good. You just yeah. Midwinter Tasmanian things. You love to see it.
It's unpleasant, but it becomes a real problem when you find your finger dexterity start to slow down. Like your typing starts to slow down. Oh shit, this is having an impact.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I tell you what isn't bad though, boys, is the laundry list of things we have to talk about this week. We've got a little bit to cover. Ash has done a preview for Borderlands 4. He's also done a preview for Sonic Racing, CrossWorlds, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. He has been a very busy boy. And Nathan...
busy boy.
...hasn't just come back for a hello. He's got some content. He also has reviewed Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army. What a fucking name. But before we jump into that, Nathan, I want to hear from you. Obviously, we haven't seen you a few months. We don't need to hear the entire back catalogue of what you've been playing for 4 or 5 months. But recent times, what have you been getting into?
So there's been 2 games that have kind of tided me over for the last 5 months. 2 games that have been able to really stand the test of time for that period. That has been Warframe for 1 and Skyrim for 2.
Ooh.
Warframe was an interesting one because that was one I could come to when I just needed like a 5-10 minute reprieve, because that game kind of really thrives on giving you a good reward for a short time investment. And over a course of that 5 months, maybe put about 100 hours in. And that across that 100 hours, I was able to kind of get from the introductory player experience right through to current content. So that was quite surprising because I'm not used to that in the current slate of like what I assume are long-running live service games.
Yeah.
So being able to crack through all that mainline content in that period of time was kind of cool. I didn't feel like I had to grind for like Final Fantasy 14 or something.
It's weird, isn't it? You're like, oh, I remember when things were like this, and now they're not like this, and it feels bad.
Yeah, like it didn't require a strenuous effort on my part to just cruise through that main content. I definitely dilly-dallied. So that was there as a kind of comfort food. And then the other one, the old tried and true Skyrim. I finally, after all these years, after many, many attempts, probably my 5th attempt at a new game to try and hit a kind of conclusion, I was able to complete that main Dragonborn questline after all these years. So very pleased.
Classic.
And was very surprised to have completed that questline and be met with no fanfare. You're not given any credits, no congratulations. The game goes...
Cheers.
So on to the next one, right? Like, you've got a quest log 40 strong. Like, what are we doing now, boys?
Did you get to Alduin and absolutely roll him because you had done like too much side content? Because I hear that's
really.
It happened to me, and I know a lot of other people it happened with. So I'm glad that you avoided it. That's good.
Like, it wasn't hard, but it wasn't. I didn't like roll it like I'd expected to.
Yeah,
like I did expect that it was going to be a bit of a walk in the park, but very, very few times over the course of the special edition did I have instances where I was just breezing through dungeons or anything like that. So Yeah, I maintain that it's an enjoyable game, but the amount of the menus kind of really suck. The UI really hasn't aged well, so it's kind of made me a little hesitant to recommend it to folks these days. As much as I've enjoyed it,
I think Skyrim's seen enough success without you having to go out there and get more people playing it.
yeah,
There's people
like I don't
playing
need
it
to
on
be
their
waving that
Samsung
flag in
smart
2025.
fridge, you're finally awake. No.
The next Elder
Not
Scrolls
again.
is definitely just around the corner, so just tell them to wait. Hold out for the next one.
I
It's
assume
fine.
we're remaking Skyrim next, guys. Like,
Nah, it's time for Morrowind. We finally got Oblivion and Morrowind time,
one
you
could
know.
hope, but yeah.
Morrowind ain't never coming back, Ash. Come on now.
I know.
I'm so sorry. Now that I've upset you, though, outside of all of this previewing and jet setting that you've been doing recently, have you had any time for anything else?
To play things that aren't, one of the
For
preview
content
games that I've been doing.
that we're just like keeping you in a box to play.
Just get back, and they just sort of whip me and say, "Get back to that keyboard and mouse and controller." I've just been dipping into the old catalog because obviously picking up the Switch 2. The big thing about the Switch 2 is that it doesn't really have that much in the way of its own killer apps at the moment, and that's sort of by design, I guess, because it's a sequel console. So playing the guts out of Mario Kart World, I sort of started, putting a glance back to other Switch games that I were sort of guilty of starting but not finishing. So, I'm digging back into Mario Odyssey, which is still an absolute slap of a time. It's incredible. Also, reintroducing my daughter to Kirby and the Forgotten World, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, because I forgot that has an entire post-game pseudo-campaign to do as well with remix levels, so...
Are you planning on getting through that in time for the new content? And you just do like the whatever pathway it is, pay $15 and give you new content?
I got the family pass, mate. I'll just get it.
That's part of that. Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice. Not convoluted at all. Perfect rollout of upgrades.
I definitely didn't need an Excel spreadsheet in some form of table to figure out how that worked. I didn't. It was all straightforward. But
luckily, we have the Switch 2 expert here to explain it to us. Nathan, can you just run us through how that actually works, mate? Can you just give us a quick little...
Short and sweet.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Cheers for that.
Awesome. Good stuff.
No, I haven't. Yeah, Kirby's on. What a dumb bit. Kirby's on my list as well. I'm planning on getting because I haven't played it at all. I'm just going to get
neither
re-releases.
Oh, please! It's genuinely joyful. It's ridiculous. Just for the sake of sharing a really quick 2-second story is that I went and bought Elden Ring because everyone was playing Elden Ring. Mm-hmm. Played it for about 2 hours. Realized I'm terrible at Elden Ring. And I went back to my local EB Games with my tail between my legs. And I was aiming to just get a refund. But then I saw Kirby on the
Switch
shelf.
2 copy, yes.
For Elden Ring. No, this is on my PS5 back in the day.
Oh, right. It's not on Switch 2 yet. It's coming.
Yet. But when I took back my release day copy of Elden Ring, I swapped it for Kirby. Went home.
Oh, back in the day.
Had a much better time.
Oh,
I spent the entire morning eating shit, and then I spent the entire evening eating caviar. It was wonderful.
Love it.
That's
eating
very cathartic.
Eating
Car
cars,
Kirby.
yeah.
Car Kirby is just wonderful.
Oh,
that's
a gem,
something
a joy.
Else. Love it. I mean, yeah, no one's surprise. I've been smashing the Switch 2 games as well. Primarily Mario Kart. Key and I have been absolutely pounding that, as well as being able to play online. I know we'll be doing a Switch 2 proper review next week, I think.
Will we?
Yeah, we'll see, James. But yeah, the online aspect of it for Mario Kart World, you just jump into a room with a friend and you're playing.
Yeah.
For a Nintendo product, fucking wild that it's that easy.
Isn't it strange having a seamless online experience in a Nintendo game? Doesn't it feel weird? Like where's all the hoops? Where's all the stuff that doesn't work? Where's the I'm in? Are you there? I can't see you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Yeah, weird. I miss it. I want it back. No, I don't. It's very, very nice to not have to worry about that. And Breath of the Wild, which is apparently you boys might be shocked to know this. The game's actually very good.
Oh, that's right, because you've never ever played it before.
Never touched it once.
For reals?
Yeah. Turns out game.
Good on you.
Excellent.
What a time.
It's not without frustrations, but I think frustrations are primarily me being like, fuck it, I'm not going to go away and get extra hearts and stamina. I'm going to do this thing right the fuck now. So I think that's more of a me problem. But
But when you get away with it,
Oh,
right,
definitely.
I finally, I've committed to doing all of the towers before I do any like proper
I did
content.
it. I was the same. Yep.
And I got to one in particular
y'all are
that
going
was
to be
surrounded
over-leveled
by.
as fuck.
Oh my god! I was surrounded by these just absolute bastard enemies that would snipe you off the tower, and I kept dying and kept dying. Would I go away? Absolutely not. I was stubborn, and I got up that tower, and it was so cathartic. I loved it. Yeah.
Eventually, it just becomes a matter of pride. Like, you
Yeah.
know you're an
Yeah.
idiot. You're fully aware you're a massive idiot, but you're like, I'm not letting this beat me.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was
You could
a
approach it
challenge. I
later
overcame
from a completely different angle, but no, you're going to stick to your guns.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, that's been me. I've also very much been playing Death Stranding 2, but I very much can't talk about that, and we'll have to wait until next week for you to hear any of my thoughts. I can tell you I have been playing it. That's about it. Otherwise, Kojima has threatened my life.
Do you get one of those documents that says you're allowed to tell people you're playing it, but you're not allowed to say anything else?
Yes, yeah, they're like, you can post it to social media. I'm like, nah, I'm not lame. I won't do that. I'll tell people if they ask, but I'm not gonna post about it. That's
It's
not
a very
that.
weird thing. Just hashtag just journalism problems.
Yeah, not a big fan. But that's enough, boys. We've got content to deliver now that I'm unfrozen. Nathan, we've been without your voice for so many months. I just can't get enough of it and want to hear more. Tell us about Raidou Remastered, which apparently is a Shin Megami Tensei title that you've just told me.
It is indeed. This game has gone through many monikers depending on the location. So I've given it a quick Google, but originally this game was called Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner : Raidou Kuzunoa versus the Soulless Army. We've shortened it. You wouldn't believe it. We've shortened it to Raidou Remastered: The Mystery of the Soulless Army. So it's probably like 16 characters shorter. But
What was wrong with the first title?
Too
Did
many
you have to pay
syllables.
per letter?
You call yourself an Australian? Come on, man. That doesn't roll off the tongue. But so this is a Shin Megami Tensei game. What are these? These are Sega Atlas's answer to Pokemon. So this is kind of like the whole Pokemon shtick, but with demons. And these demons are based on all kinds of folklorish creatures from Japan and other regions of the world. So you'll see a lot of familiar and unfamiliar faces depending on how acquainted you are with different kind of like Asian folklore and stuff like that. So this game is a little different to the established Shin Megami Tensei formula because those games are noted for having a turn-based battle system where you've got your main character, they'll get some demons which will have abilities, and you'll verse other demons to exploit their elemental weaknesses and shit. Pretty typical JRPG stuff. But the Raidou Remastered comes along and, well, back in 2006, it provided a real-time action system for its combat.
It's from back in 2006.
2006, PlayStation 2.
Oh, damn, okay.
This was a pretty later entry. So this has come out post-Persona. And on that, Persona fans will find there's a lot of Persona overlap here. So this is set in the 1930s in Japan, which is already a pretty different setting for Shin Megami Tensei games where they're either present day or apocalyptic future. This one's gone backwards. And you play Raidou Kuzunoa the 14th. So he's the 14th iteration of a kind of like spirit detective who operates in both the corporeal world as well as the dark realm, where demons or folk creatures linger and impact the day-to-day goings of the real world. So over the course of this game, he's enlisted by a detective agency in the real world, which then provides him mysteries that overlap into the dark world, where he's able to then flex his combat skills. This game's going to have you investigate an affluent family's daughter who's gone missing, believed kidnapped. It's then revealed that she is a cursed member of a family where all the females in this family by the age of 16 encounter some kind of fatal illness or something of the like, and they're going to try and harness the weird mystical, or someone wants to try and harness the weird mystical energy around this curse for nefarious means, and then the plot just continues to jump the shark from there in typical Shin Megami Tensei flavour. So if you're a fan,
Great.
you know that this is weird and it's going to lead into it. Exploration-wise, it's the Shin Megami Tensei thing where you're a pin on a map, like a top-down map, and you kind of move a pin around locations, And then when you reach a location, it goes into like a persona exploration where you're like running down streets as Raidou and you get to talk to the locals and interact with them. Sometimes you can summon demons to like influence them in different ways to get an extra bit of dialogue or solve a side quest. It's very Ni no Kuni, so you might have a demon that it's like a fire demon and you can ignite the passions of an NPC, which will make them confess their love to another character. Mission complete. So that's kind of cool.
People listening to the podcast, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing out on how articulated Nathan's hand motions are painting this to me. It's fantastic.
Because imagine never having encountered any of these games and then trying to understand like what the fuck's going on. There's layers to this. This is a spin-off of a spin-off. Because we're playing with both Persona and Shin Megami Tensei flavors here. So this game incorporates the main features of both of those series in terms of the demons, the exploration, demon fusion. So that's one of the answers to Pokemon. Rather than evolving your demons or evolving your creatures like you do in Pokemon, as you level your demons up, you can fuse them together to create new demons whilst inheriting the powers of some of the previous ones. This allows a lot of min-maxing and quite a lot of strategizing because you can apply custom abilities to your pokey demons as well, like you do your HM, TMs and shit. But the combat is what is really going to differentiate this from other Shin Megami Tensei games, because this is real time and they've had to adapt so many years of like developed systems from these turn-based games into a real-time arena-based fighter. And it's awkward. It's not bad, but it's awkward. And they've done a really admirable job of it, where you, Raidou, will be accompanied by any 2 demons from your roster of captured demons. When you're in a battle, you can go up to someone and basically you mash a button and you get to absorb them into your roster if you're high enough level. It's very hack and slash, so mashing a lot of square to do light attacks, triangle to do heavy attacks. One of the cool things here is, instead of a stamina meter, you've got a magic meter. All of your demons to cast their abilities are going to use magic, and that's going to come out of your magic meter. To refill it, simple melee attacks. So you've got this cool like back and forth between using your abilities and your demons' abilities, whilst also having to recharge your magic by having to get involved in the combat, get up close and personal. It works. It's you'll see everything it has to offer in the first 6 hours or so. There's not much in the way of customization other than the different demons you'll bring in. The ability roster is really just more impactful versions of the stuff you'll see at the start of the game. So like a little fireball might turn into a bigger fireball later on. It's pretty routine. Go at 'em.
Very quickly, when you say that you have some of your demons are in combat with you, is it like they'll automatically fight on their own, and when you want to use their abilities you can, or you using their abilities is kind of their involvement?
So it's quite streamlined to give you kind of the best of both worlds. So I was playing, there's about 5 difficulty modes here, and I was kind of playing on the medium one, which is kind of cool. But on the medium one, I was able to let the demons operate, my 2 companions operate autonomously, so they will know to exploit enemy weaknesses. They're quite smart. I never really had to worry about them ever. There is a simple button you can press to kind of retreat them if things are getting a little hairy, and then pop them straight back out. But yeah, it was very straightforward. There is the option there's a few options in terms of like pausing the game during fights. So whenever you want to manually issue commands, which is something you can do, you can both issue like ability orders, or you can even take control of the demons themselves, which is novel, but they're very... The combat system's not really developed around using your demons. It's most about using that main character in his hack and slash. So the options are there, and I don't know how it goes on harder difficulties, but I imagine you would have to pause a lot and kind of micromanage to get the most out of it, because it can get quite difficult. But yeah, overall I'm quite positive on this. One of the new big improvements is they've added English and Japanese voice acting, and they're more generous than most JRPGs. They've provided multiple voice tracks for pretty much all of the over 120 demons here. That adds a lot of personality, because demons will have conversations with you. They're usually all like, they're mischievous. They're usually like cracking jokes and taking the piss and just being rather rambunctious, but it's fun that they've all got voice lines. That's not something that we normally see with the Shin Megami Tensei games. And basically every line of dialogue that could be in some way associated with the critical path has been voiced. So the only stuff that's not getting voiced is like just uninteresting NPCs and the occasional side quests. So a lot of work put in here. Character models look really good for a 2006 game. Like, they've really brushed up the character models. A lot of fixed camera angles in the exploration, very old school PS2. I like it because it really brings
was good.
brings that makes the I think it makes the pre-rendered backgrounds really pop. There's a lot of character there, so I really like how they've kind of bridged the gap between PS2 and PS5, the platform I've reviewed it on. But as I say, the combat just doesn't have enough to offer over its like 30-hour playtime. It doesn't really develop in any meaningful way outside of boss battles. Boss battles are very much like the Final Fantasy XIV boss affair, where there's lasers going around and you have to... the floor is lava, a lot of moving really fast and retreating, and it's very thinky, it's very fast paced, it's very good. But the like moment to moment combat encounters otherwise are... they're just a little bit repetitive without a whole heap to offer. I didn't mind it. It is what it is, but it doesn't evolve enough to stay interesting over that 30 hours. There's no real player progression either. It's an RPG, but there's no real meaningful choices to make in how you build your character or anything like that. It's just the demon roster is the highlight of the show, but you've seen it all before if you've played Persona or Shin Megami Tensei, so... The only thing new here, I guess, is the setting and the real-time combat. Both are cool, but both could definitely be improved upon with some more confidence. And yeah, so maybe we'll see more of this spin-off series that I'd never played before now. I don't know if we had much of a release of this back in Australia in 2006, but it's here now with an $80 price tag, which is... Yeah, I liked it, guys. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. How are we feeling about that?
Nice. Sounds pretty fair.
Solid.
Yeah.
Are there other games in this series that we're likely to get later on, or is this a one-off?
I think there might have been a sequel, because as I said, I never saw this series in Australia.
And yeah, 2006, that gives us a fair bit of runway.
It's the third game of a... It's actually the third game in the Devil Summoner spin-off series of the Shin... Oh, mate, this is so convoluted.
Thanks, Atlas.
There is a sequel. Yeah, Devil Summoner 2, Raidou Kuzunoa versus King Abaddon, released in 2008. So we might see that. Hey, I'll be there for it. I'm absolutely keen enough to do a remaster of the sequel. So
good work, Atlas. You've got him. You've got him in the door. You've got him. I love it. It's certainly not a game for me, but no. I love seeing these. They're so fucking weird. Oh, wait. Is the big green dick in it?
Haven't found it yet. Yeah, so I almost finished it, but I found the less fat... There's like 2 penis monsters. I found one, but not the other.
You found the lesser penis.
I have, and I'm fully... Right. Because of that, I'm fully expecting to find the big throbber, so... Stay tuned. I might have an update for you. I'm expecting to get it the next night or two.
By next week, I need to know, Nathan. I need to know.
It would have to be the first game I haven't seen in otherwise. So
you gotta lay eyes on it
in glorious new high definition.
But Ash, speaking of giant throbbing green penises, you played Shinobi and a bit of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Whichever order you'd like to tackle those in, my man. Let us know.
In both. Okay, well, I mean...
Jesus.
I was invited to sit down and do the... I think it's called Sega Play Day or something along those lines. It's basically Sega lets outlets play stuff. And that's cool because there's cool things to play. And so, probably the lesser of the two, and I can cover it nice and quickly, will be Shinobi. So... You probably saw a little while ago there was an announcement that there is a new Shinobi game. It's called Shinobi Art of Vengeance. It's a gorgeous sort of 2D rendered game. It's made by Lizard Cube, who did Streets of Rage, I think. But in my gameplay experience, I did have a dev copy of the game, which meant that I got to play through sort of the intro to the game, which is the tutorial, and then I had a secondary save file that was like further into the game, sort of like, if this is how it starts, this is where it ends up. And first off, it is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
But second off, it is so much fun. Like, I forgot that I actually had played quite a few of the old school Shinobi games back in the day. And as I was playing it, even in, gorgeous HD graphics, my hands sort of started to know what to do. And I'm like, hold on. I started to do a mechanic before the game had introduced it to me where you enter your ninja stance and you can do special things.
Yeah.
And so I was attacking some dude, and a symbol appeared above his head, and I instinctively went bang bang and executed him. And I legitimately stopped and went, "Hold on, wait a minute."
Where did that come from?
Here before.
Where did that come from? And I was like, wait a minute, I played Shinobi on my PS2 and it was a banger. Yes. So The Art of Vengeance is an absolutely gorgeous game. Playing through the intro just sort of brings you up to speed. It's the good old Joe Musashi who says not a fucking thing with everybody talking at him, and he like
Classic.
your apprentice pops up and it's like, "Master, they're attacking the village. What are we going to do about it?" And then you just come into frame and you're like and gone. You don't say a fucking word. But your apprentice is like, "Yes, of course. We will defeat them." It's like, what? Got through the good old fashioned game that introduces you to your pregnant wife at the start of the game, and you go, nope, that's not good. That can't be good.
This thing
Anyway,
has an expiration date.
it's just like, meet your hero and his pregnant partner, and you're like, shit. But I played through the tutorial, thought it was great, and then I jumped into one of the later stages, and it was kind of cool that, like, at the start, the game is just incredibly sort of period styled. Like, yeah, there's like ninjas, there's dudes shooting arrows at you, forests, you know, beautiful landscapes. Jumped into the latest stage file, and it was more industrial, and like I was like in cityscapes, and like there was like ghoul people attacking me. Like there was a part where I went across. It was really quite cool because it's a side scroller. I was in a swamp, but each of the platforms when I jumped on it would start to fall down, like sort of sinking into the mud. But then I could jump to another one to bring it back up. So on a screen, I'd have 3 platforms, enemies spawning on each one, and I have to keep sort of jumping between them to kill dudes and make sure I don't fall in the water. And you'd think that would be really irritating, but just the game is so snappy and quick, and when you want to do something, you push the button, you do it. It's not sort of, you don't fight the controls. The controls want you to feel like a ninja, and so you do. You're soft on your feet, you're absolutely devastating with your attacks, and then you can do your ninja arts to just basically just go full-on ninja wizard, and it's awesome. You want to breathe fire? Yeah, fuck it, do it. Have you killed a guy enough and now you can execute him? Do it. You know, it's sick. So, yeah, I played about 45 minutes of it. I'm really looking forward to it. It wasn't on my radar as a must-play. It was sort of a thing that I'll check it out when I get the chance. But after getting hands-on with it, absolutely sick old-school action. The other thing I really like is that levels, you can either choose to play through it in a narrative way or set it to arcade mode. And it just relaxes some things and basically just says, hey, have fun. You know, do
Cool.
huge scores, look awesome. It's great. So I had an absolute blast with that. On the same day, also from Sega, is the incredible Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, which Kieran's not here today, but we know that beautiful human being is an absolute massive fan of Sonic All-Star Racing's Transformed, as am I. And gentlemen, it is my esteemed pleasure to tell you all right here, right now, the game absolutely slaps. Like, in a big way.
Excellent.
Really, really good. Apparently the closed beta test from a little while ago was quite bare bones, but sort of gave you a feel of the game. This was a much more developed copy. It didn't have everything. Like, we just saw Summer Games Fest was just around the corner not that long ago, and they sort of announced all these great tie-in characters. They weren't present, so I didn't get to play as Steve from Minecraft, but, you know, all good. We'll get over that somehow. But it did mean that I got to sort of get elbow deep in a lot of the more involved features of the game and some of the more sort of unique things. Because, like, let's be clear. Everyone approaches the Sonic racing games as, oh, cool, it's, we've got Mario Kart at home.
And I mean, maybe.
I feel like there's been times where that series has been much more closer to that mold compared to some other times where it was quite innovative. CrossWorlds, I feel, is doing enough new and fun things without just reinventing the wheel. Like, they're not shoehorning in shit that makes it annoying to play. They're actually going, hey, this is a cool feature that should work in a kart racing game. And some of them are. The first thing that I encountered when I selected a cup to play was the rival system. And it's really straightforward. Like, I started the race, and before the cup started, it basically went, hey, choose a rival. And I was playing as Shadow initially because he's the Master Edgelord, and I just finished building my car, and I made this ridiculous Edgemobile, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it popped up, it's like, do you want to race against Sonic? And it's like, this is a 2-star rival. And then it said, or do you want to race against Cream the Rabbit as a 2.5-star rival? And in my hubris, in my absolute hubris, I went,
Cream.
I'm going to crush Cream the rabbit. Boys, do you know what happened to me?
Did you get creamed?
I got creamed. She styled upon me. She absolutely embarrassed me. And the big thing about the rival system is that it highlights that character in the race as your target. It basically says like, hey, stay ahead of this person or else you're a loser. Haha. But it also plays into the flavor of the game because if you pass them or if they pass you, there's special little voice lines that play to sort of have a bit of interaction in there. So like, cool. I shoot a missile and I hit Cream and she goes, oh, and Shadow's just like, stay out of my way, Cream. But then she'll blitz past me because I've spun out hitting a bad corner and she goes, don't worry, Shadow, you'll catch up. And I'm like, you son of a bitch! So after the cup was complete and I had not managed to beat her, the game then came up and said, would you like to reduce the difficulty of your rival?
Oh, nothing more insulting.
So I heard you suck.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was just like, are you suffering?
So
Cream is a vehicle of suffering.
Is there, outside of just like an added little, target for the race, I mean, you're obviously trying to come first, right? So is there an added incentive to beat said rival, or is it just because you don't want the game to dunk on you?
What I speculate, just based off what I could play with, is that within the game there's a currency that you sort of earn, and they're like prize tickets. And you get prize tickets for coming first, you get prize tickets for doing cool things in the race, like, you picked up the most power-ups, or, you perform the longest skid out of everybody, and you get some prize tickets. I think the prize tickets get used to like unlock more car parts, and they can also be used quite nifty. You can actually use prize tickets to redo a race to try and get a better position. Like,
oh, that's cool.
If you're trying to like really get a good score in this cup and you completely beef on one of them, a couple of prize tickets. Let's just mulligan that. But I think that it will give you more opportunities to get prize tickets for passing your rival and things like that. That's what I speculate. I didn't see it because I didn't beat her because I was shit. But
yeah, I'm asking the wrong man. Nathan, do you have any insights on this? Switch Lord?
Bro,
Thank you.
I completely switched out.
He switched off.
I was too busy. Excuse me on that one. I'm currently looking at Undercover Brother.
He was just imagining a giant boot worn by a bunny rabbit stomping on Shadow's head forever.
Amazing.
But I did get my shit into gear. I started to explore some of the supplementary systems and came to sort of realize that there was a lot of things I could do to improve my chances. One cool thing is that Sonic CrossWorlds does have car building. And it's a little bit more robust than, like, say, Mario Kart 8 was. Like, Mario Kart 8 would be you lock in sort of your chassis, you pick your wheels, you pick your glider, done. Yeah. Sonic CrossWorlds actually has different car types and they're modular. You choose the back, the front, and the wheels. And it means you can actually create some really sick-looking cars. Like, when I was designing a ride for Shadow, I just decided to make something that looked completely stupid. Like, this thing has to look like a 14-year-old high school student who just got, rejected by the girl he likes. He's drawn this car. And I raced in it.
Don't come to school tomorrow. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Like, he reaches into the backpack and everybody takes a deep breath, that kind of thing.
Jesus Christ.
After Cream demolished me, I decided to reassess, and I jumped back into the kart building thing, and I actually thought about, like, stats and what can I do, and I thought, like, I'm struggling to reach top speed, and yada, yada, yada. I built a much better, pretty pink convertible, and I slapped Amy Rose in there, because she had a better spread of stats for acceleration speed. That's what you do. The other thing that the game has that I think is brilliant, and at first I was horrified by it, is it has something called the gadgets system. Now, the way that gadgets work is you basically have this little grid of like 6 spots. And then there's a range of benefits that you can choose from that work as passives within the game. Now, depending on the power of these passives is how many slots they take up. An example of one of the buffs you could take is you recover slightly quicker after being hit by an attack. So I'm going to keep using Mario Kart as an analog just because it's easy. But like, you get hit by, you spin out after hitting a banana, or you get hit by a green shell. If you feel that your losses are coming from the fact that you just can't recover from that shit, you can equip this. Done. That goes into one of your slots. Another slot would be like, you perform air tricks slightly faster because that's a way of, gaining speed in this game. You can increase the cap on how many rings you can carry at a time. That increases your top speed. Some of the more involved ones that take up a lot of slots are things like you can hold up to 3 power-ups at a time instead of, say, 2. And so it's a way of catering to your particular playstyle and possibly even playing with it as you get better at the game. Like, for example, that whole idea of, you recover slightly faster from being attacked. There's a lot more ways of avoiding attacks and actually countering attacks in Sonic CrossWorlds compared to Mario. So maybe it's a case of you're not used to using the whirlwind correctly and not getting hit by projectiles. So you run that one until you figure it out. And then you can get rid of it and pick a different thing. I desperately tried to find a way to make the game busted with this. I thought this is rife for just potential to fuck the game completely. I did a build where I had an increased ring cap. I would generate rings when I did air tricks, and I found that they're accumulative. You can use 2 of the same bonus in different ranks. So you can take rank 1 air trick and rank 2 air tricks, take up 3 slots, and now when you perform an air trick, you do it at the speed of goddamn light. I can do 7 backflips before I hit the ground off a basic jump. It's ridiculous, but it's amazing. And I was rubbing my hands together going, yeah, this is the thing that's going to make the game terrible. This is the element that's going to break everything. And so I started racing as Amy, and I went over a jump, and I did 17 backflips and landed, and I had, 10 rings or 20 rings. Realistically, it was more of a crutch than anything, because collecting rings isn't that big of a deal. So I thought, okay, I'll go full offensive. I'm going to have as many item slots as I possibly can, and I'm going to take the thing that means I get offensive power-ups more often. Aha, I'm just going to become like an artillery cannon of just shooting stuff. It didn't help me win, because it didn't help me boost faster. It didn't help me do anything better. I was just a dick with a lot of guns.
Ash, it feels like these poor folks at this preview event just watched you crumble into yourself.
I was left alone in a room. I was left to descend into madness by myself. But it was purely science. I had to see if this system, which when I first saw it, I was scared of, could break the game. And I honestly think it is just a really good way of letting each person cater to their playstyle without completely unbalancing the game. There's a booster in there that is basically a guerrilla tutorial. The way that it works is it says that, if you use a speed boost to go across an area that would usually decelerate you, your speed boost lasts slightly longer. It's basically a way of saying, have you considered using a speed boost to go across something that slows you down? Cool. Not everyone's played Mario Kart for 20 years. They might not have rubbed those 2 neurons together, but they see that and go, that's a thing. I can do that. I can get rewarded for doing that. And then when they start doing that, they might think, oh, that's not a great booster for me. I'll change it to something else. It's really neat. It's really simple. So those are the main sort of ancillary things that have added to it. The main quirk of the game, of course, is the portals, which if you've seen the marketing materials, the portals that appeared... Yeah, the portals that appeared in the Sonic movies, that's just the random thing that apparently Sonic can summon, his rings into actual portals out there. That's the gimmick of the game. And they actually are really cool. It's a really great way of doing it, because the way that they work in the game is that whoever's in the pole position, once you complete a lap of your 3-lap race, on lap 2, you'll hit a straight where basically the road gets divided into 2 sides. And it color codes each side with a portal, and you can choose where we're going next. You can choose a specific place, I want to go through that snow environment because I know it. Or, I'm going to hit the random wheel. I'm going to pick something that I have no idea what it is, because maybe I want to, hopefully, screw over the people behind me by picking something that they're not good at. And so it means that each race, you get this interstitial, and now for something completely different before returning back to the race. Then, for the last race of your cup, you will start on one of the tracks you already started on, and then you'll use that ring portal to go to a different track from the cup that you've done. It's and now for a greatest hits of the race tracks that you've just been on. Let's check them out. So once I figured out all the ancillary systems and I'd selected a 2-star difficulty rival, not a 2.5-star difficulty rival, I started to absolutely slap nuts. Yeah, well, I locked in Amy Rose, and it was like, would you like to be rivals with Sonic the Hedgehog? And I'm like, hell yes, I do. And it was amazing. I knew what I was doing. I picked some gadgets that weren't terrible. I understood that rings were really important, like more so than I think coins are in Mario Kart. And that rival system just kicked in, and I was passing Sonic and hearing him be really indignant about the fact that somebody had passed him at a race. Like, you go shooting past, and Amy Rose is like, here I go! And Sonic's like, yeah, good one, Amy. It was like you could almost feel him giving her the finger with one of his long gloved hands in the revision mirror.
Love it.
So, my conclusion is that I think, as far as we have Mario Kart at home goes, I think this is the first time in a long time that Sonic Racing represents a very specific, I guess, audience to cater to. That if you're going to put them side by side with Mario Kart World, there are things being offered in Sonic CrossWorlds that technically are no longer being offered in the most recent Mario Kart entry.
Yeah.
Like, kart building is gone from Mario Kart. Just selecting a racetrack and just doing those tracks is technically gone from Mario Kart World. Yes, I know there's hacky ways of getting around it, but like, you and your mates can say, let's play these tracks. You play those tracks are done.
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly change my kart because I need more acceleration. Done. It's going to cut Mario Kart World's lunch in a couple of ways. Not in a drastic way, but it's the first time in ages that I feel like the game really has a strong set of legs to stand on, where it's not just, come on guys, play this. No, I'd rather play Mario Kart. It's like, no, there's a compelling reason nowadays. Plus, day one crossplay, I think the game's going to slap as far as a good community goes.
Hell yeah, that's genuinely good to hear. I think there's a place where we can have more than one good kart racer. And I think, yeah, a lot of people are... I'm not one of them, because I think Mario Kart World fucking slaps. But, yeah,
I agree.
It's definitely left a hole that people are looking to fill.
I am legit that meme of the Jeremy Clarkson thing, where it's like, this is brilliant, but I prefer this.
Yeah.
That's right, man. I absolutely love Mario Kart World, having a blast with it, but I'm genuinely really looking forward to Sonic CrossWorlds, because I just think it's just got enough different stuff going on nowadays that it is an alternative, a reasonable alternative.
With
not
that
a pale imitation.
With the cost of entry being so high on Mario Kart World, I must say you've increased my enthusiasm for CrossWorlds significantly.
Oh,
yep. I can adopt
you'll
that
be able to
a
pick
lot
up
easier.
CrossWorlds in a fucking Steam sale, my guy. Like, you can't do that with Mario Kart World.
Yep, true that. Jesus Christ. But hey, Nathan, you can look forward to picking up Sonic Racing CrossWorlds on just about everything on September 25th.
Oh, is it really that far away?
And Shinobi, Art of Vengeance?
Oh.
When is Shinobi Art of Vengeance?
It's August 26th, but I forget the name of it, because it's like...
Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
It is Art of Vengeance, yeah.
And I think that's coming
August
basically
29, I was wrong.
Every platform.
August 29.
I'm pretty sure.
Jesus, it does look gorgeous, doesn't it? Oh, my days.
Very, very pretty, yeah.
Ash, we don't pay you by the minute, mate. We're not going to give you a break. You don't get lunch. You don't even get to see your loved ones until this is all over. I know. Back in the box for you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You have one last preview. Nathan's done a full fat review. I've done fuck all this week, but you have done 3 previews. Your last one is Borderlands 4. I'd say this is probably the meat and potatoes of the episode. Tell us.
It is.
What I'm really here for.
Yeah, absolutely. You went and rubbed shoulders with old Randy Pitchford. We want to know more about your time with the big wet one, as well as how the game was.
Sure. So, a little while ago now, it was actually about a month ago, I actually got to go play Borderlands 4. But, interesting story. The Randy Pitchford part of that whole experience was effectively a jump scare, because... it was all...
Isn't it always?
Yeah, but I mean, like, it was all lined up, and I was ready to go, and I was happy, and I had to fly into state for it. I'm on the train, and, like, I'm checking my map. I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm nearly there. It's like 10 minutes to the event, and I've got 5 minutes to walk. And then I got a text saying, by the way, you have a developer interview opportunity with Randy Pitchford. And I was like, sorry, what? I went from no developer interview opportunity to, you're going to be talking to the guy who runs the company. I was like, sweet. Cool,
man.
Great. And so, like, legitimately, when I got to the venue, he jumped out from behind a door. And I don't mean like, yeah! He just had exited some room at great speed and stopped because we were there. So it was... and then it laughed, said hello, and then just immediately left. So
I hope that room was the bathroom.
Hey.
I think it was. I don't know. Anyway, moving past Randy anecdotes. So I got to sit down and do a little bit of a presentation to bring me up to speed on Borderlands 4. If people have been keeping up to date with sort of marketing materials, the formula is getting shifted a little bit, and some things just sort of make perfect sense, and other things have people sort of scratching their head and going, what on earth is this? But we'll get into that. The long and short of it is that Borderlands 4 is probably a natural evolution of what you'd expect from the formula. They're going to leverage bigger hardware, faster load times, and they're going to do... One of the main things they're going to do is they're going to break down walls. So part of the presentation had a topic title that was just simply less borders, more lands. First off, whoever chose that, whoever came up with that, give that man a raise and a corner office facing the sun. What a great time. But it just simply means that it's a proper open world now. A proper, seamless, massive, expansive area. And, like, when they were talking to us about it, they said, it's also important that we realize that making things a big open area, they have to be interesting, they have to be engaging. There's no point making something big and then just going, yeah, it's fun to be in it. So they've actually put a shitload of effort into making sure that you can do your narrative path, and it will take you through these massive spaces, but when you go off the beaten track, when you decide, I don't really want to go do that right now, I'm going to do something else, they want it to feel rewarding and engaging and fun. And so it meant that when I got to sit down and do it, the second, and I mean the millisecond, the NPC hadn't even finished telling me that they were giving me the ability to summon a car, and I'd already hit the fucking button and taken off. Like I was outie 9000. There's like... So, effectively, I got given a Space Harley. It's 2-part Destiny Sparrow, 1 part sci-fi, hoverbike thing. Okay. It can boost, it can jump, and it told me that my objective, it can shoot.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yep. Like all Borderlands cars, it can shoot. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does enough to get the job done if you want to.
It'll give him a tickle.
Yeah, but the second I got it, it's like, your objective is over that way. And I'm like, later, bitch, and went completely the opposite way.
Perfect. What previews are made for.
Yeah, it was great. And you know what? It is actually quite engaging. Like, just a couple of things that I discovered just from hooning around was that there's lots of areas with enemies that are just sort of doing stuff that you can sort of uncover. I found some random friendly psychos that were raiding a fridge.
Sure.
They didn't want to attack me. I got off the bike and had a look at them because it's a pretty game. And I was like, hey, cool, the new psychos look really awesome. And then a giant Triceratops charged through us and completely annihilated me. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I jump on my bike and I drive somewhere else. I found a jumping puzzle. And movement in Borderlands 4 has been... Basically, I think it's reached its logical conclusion. I don't know where you go from here. Mm-hmm. Characters can sprint, they can slide, they can jump, they can double jump, they can dash, either on the air or on the ground. They can hover. And when you're hovering, you can press crouch to slam to the ground. So shout out to the pre-sequel, Love You My Aussie Moon Man. Hand up, go for it, Adam.
Fall damage, question mark?
Gone! Absolutely
love
gone.
To see it.
And they made a point. They just said, hey, fall damage isn't fun. Flick, it's gone.
Well, especially in an open world, right? If you're giving an open world, here's a big playground to run around in, whole bunch of movement mechanics. The last thing you want to be doing is falling off a cliff. Fuck, I'm dead.
Absolutely flicked like the shittiest booger. Gone. Because that's also a thing, is that, like, I did my exploring and I was sort of in ground level and yeah, that's kind of cool. And then I realized that, like, I kept driving around this mountain. I sort of found myself going, there's got to be something up there. Yeah, there's got to be something up there. So I rammed my bike into it and started ascending, and that's where I found, like, a little jumping area. There was, like, a chasm, and I was like, I think I can make that if I double jump and I glide. And sure enough, I did. And on the other side of it, it's like a big sort of cave entrance. So I thought, ooh, that could be fun. And this massive, hulking, badass psycho dude came running out and slapped me off the mountain. I was like, oh, you bitch. I love it. And then... I went back up there, killed him, and went through. And there's like a beached ship up there. I don't know how it got there. It could have been a spaceship, actually, in retrospect. But it was. me trying to be a cynical bastard and being like, you can't make this world fun, and all these movement things are just overkill. Oh, you've been watching too much Apex Legends. Nah, I was eating crow. It was actually really cool. So then I decided I should do the objective, right? So I have a bit of a pore over my abilities, and here's the thing, right? So 4 new Vault Hunters. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the strongest things of Borderlands is its characters. They have absurd things. Like, they go, yeah, you know what? This is a Gunzerker. Like, that's great. A Siren. It's basically Space Wizards. Hell yeah. Love it. In Borderlands 4, the direct quote from Randy Pitchford is that we have more skills in this game than probably every other Borderlands game put together. And
Jesus.
I believe it, because every character has 3 active abilities to choose from, and each one of those active abilities basically pyramids out into a different set of skills that they can upgrade until they reach a new tier that actually changes how that skill works. Mm-hmm. You can change between those active abilities when you want.
Ah, good.
Out in the world,
on the fly respecking needs to be in every game. We need to make this change.
It needs to be baseline for every game. If you have skills, let us change them when we want them. Just do it. Just do it. So I was playing the mercenary Rafa, who is the Exosuit Soldier, I think his name is. His big deal is that he's a guy that's wearing this experimental endoskeleton that supports his body because he was born in low gravity, and regular gravity will crush him and kill him. What a great time. But because it's a Tediore invention, they're the guys that can summon guns out of nothing. They digistruct them. He can summon massive energy swords for his arms, or he can summon 2 shoulder-mounted cannons that shoot what he's shooting, or he can summon a brand new gun that replaces one of his arms and shoots massive exploding laser bolts. And I could swap between them. So one of my first combat encounters with a bunch of dudes, I just hit the button and started slashing them up. And it was just a third-person game at that point.
So I started blasting.
I just started slashing. Like, the camera pulled out and there was my dude with his 2 swords, and it was like full goblin mode. Like, just, yeah. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, I wonder what the shoulder cannons do. And they're awesome as well. But the other big thing that makes it really neat, and this was the controversial thing that people were talking about, was the inclusion of a new feature that they call the Ordnance Key. Now, if you're familiar with Borderlands, you know that there's heavy weapons. You know that there's grenades. You also know that grenades and heavy weapons, yes, you find them while you're scrounging, but they're not super plentiful. In many cases, if you want to be the rocket launcher guy, you're like picking skills that make you generate ammo, or you pick up more ammo, or you have a chance to not consume ammo. Well, apparently according to the beam counters in Gearbox software, and this is according to Randy and his mates, their data says that people treat grenades and heavy weapons far too precious. They don't pull them out as much because, by design, the big heavy Daka gun is super powerful, so we can't give them too much ammo because they'll be super powerful all the time.
Yep.
So they just went,
for
fuck
special
it.
occasions.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like it's like RPGs, isn't it? You finish the fucking game and all your full heals have not been used. Your
You got
super
your Master
duper
Ball
healing
sitting in
potion.
your back pocket.
Exactly. So their idea was just simply, we're going to remove ammo from these things. And it's like, what? So instead of you collecting ammo, bullets, grenades, or whatever, you equip the item. You can still find your flaming rocket launcher of, anal exploding. You equip it. When you push the ordnance button, you whip that bad boy out. You'll have 6 shots. You'll blast through them, shoot them as much as you want. When you're out of 6, you put it away again. It goes on cooldown. Okay. That cooldown isn't very long. Like, my thought was, they've gutted heavy weapons because they didn't want to balance the economy of the ammo. But it's actually super generous because it's a cooldown now. Yeah. It's a fuck it, why not button. And so you got your active ability on one hand where you push the button and get your laser swords and go completely ham. And then your swords run out and you go, oh, time for the rocket launcher. And you hit that button and you go, yeah. The other thing is that if you're not using a rocket launcher, the same slot gets taken up by grenades. That's the thing that sort of I wasn't sure about, but it also means now that technically grenades have gotten a bit of a buff because they're an or item, not an and item.
Sure.
They don't have to worry about this dude has a missile launcher and a cluster bomb. He has one or the other. They can both be great because he's only using one at a time. But remember, you can change things whenever you want. If you see a room full of dudes and you think, I definitely need a swarm grenade in there, just swap them. Off you go. The other thing that came out of left field for the ordnance key is throwing knives, which,
Sure.
yeah, when they were explaining it to me, I was just like, nah, you can't. I mean, the only person who can make throwing knives cool is like Arnie, and that's only because he says "stick around" after throwing one at you, you know. But you know what? They slap. Throwing knives can hit crit spots and do critical damage. So the first time I threw one by accident, I did 4 digits worth of damage and went, oh, okay. That's pretty excellent. So yeah, the moment-to-moment gameplay is you sprinting, running, jumping, double jumping, dashing, hovering, slamming into the ground, pressing your active key, going apeshit, pushing your ordnance key, going apeshit, and then going, oh, maybe I'll shoot with some of my guns for a while as well. And that's awesome. And then when you're done with that, you jump onto your mighty steed and you piss off somewhere else to do it again. And this was only one area of the game. This isn't indicative of how the game ends up. It isn't indicative of how like the player progression works. This was close to the start of the game. And it's already sort of, gloves off, kicking ass, and I quite enjoy it.
Hell yeah.
The one thing I took away from the experience, and I did actually have a chance to sit down and speak to Randy about, is that I am a long-term Borderlands fan. Like, for me, Borderlands represented quite an interesting property that has a cool backstory in the sense that, like, if you know the original Borderlands story, it was heading to the piss pile. It looked like every other game. It didn't have an identity, and then somebody was like, how about we make it look actually interesting? And then, and its trajectory's been decent until recently, where it became less decent and kind of became a bit disenfranchised because, like, Borderlands games might have dumb stories and silly characters and all the rest of it, but I still like the fact that I gave a shit about all of those downtrodden idiots on these Dust Bowl fucking lethal planets. And then that became a bit of a parody of itself. And
It did, yeah.
Getting to talk to Randy Pitchford directly, I tried to find the most eloquent way of saying, like, why is Borderlands 4 going to be better than Borderlands 3? And he just hit me with the truth bomb. It was really quite ridiculous how open he was. Like, he sort of said, like, we've been doing this for, I think he said, like, how long have they been making games for? Like 15 years for Borderlands games?
Yeah.
He said, like,
Yeah, it's been a long ass time.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 15 years, and I think we're only just starting to get good at it. And he was really transparent about, like, we were so confident going to Borderlands 3, the development structure just definitely wasn't what it should have been. We ended up, and this is a direct quote, he said, we made a caricature of a Borderlands game. That's his words. We made a caricature of a Borderlands game. We became a caricature of ourselves.
Yeah,
and
accurate.
He said that, like, the development strategy was so many things were being made in siloed groups that weren't part of a cohesive whole. And he said, like, it just meant that, like, when things got pushed into, like, the main pot of it all, that's where you got that tonal dissonance, where, like, you'd have a fart joke on top of a fart joke happening 2 seconds after what's supposed to be a poignant story moment. And there's no gravitas, there's no feeling. There can't be.
Yeah.
You don't know whether to laugh or cry, so you just sort of meet in the middle and not give a shit. And so he said, like, the biggest thing about Borderlands 4 is that, like, we've been in development for this long, but from the very beginning, we've made sure that everyone's involved with every step of the process. We all see the bigger picture because we're involved in the bigger picture. We want this to be the best Borderlands game we've made, so we've made sure that people are producing things that go into the right place and create a cohesive whole. And it's like, hey, that's really quite eye-opening. So while I didn't get to see any heavy, incredible moments within the story that would tell me that the narrative is going to be great, I'm confident based off what I've been told, and from my sort of three-ish hours of dicking about like an idiot, I didn't see anything that would suggest otherwise.
Yeah, so you weren't hit with, that mile-a-minute bullshit humor that was in
There's
Borderlands
gags.
3.
There's jokes. One of the first people you run into is basically a gym bro guy. But actually, I love that guy. His name's Rush, and he's got you, bro. But like, the story of Borderlands 4 is one of, like, legitimately generational subjugation. You are going to a planet that has been enslaved for like 1,000 years, and people are just starting to break free of the person who enslaved them. If you're going to deal with that subject matter and just, like, make armpit fart noises and fucking thumb your nose the whole time, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I'm cautiously optimistic, but, like, if it's a gamut, if it's a spectrum, I'm on the high end of cautiously optimistic. I've played it. It's fun. It's gorgeous. It's very responsive.
And you played solo, correct?
Yes. Well,
Right, cool.
we did have a brief moment where we were allowed, at the end of the session, we were allowed to jump in and play co-op. But it was just 2-player thing. And that...
Yeah,
gotcha. It's Borderlands co-op. There was another person there.
Well, yeah, my thought was that if you're already having a good time solo, there's a good chance that you throw a couple people in there and you'll enjoy it more.
Mate, I will stand by it to the day I die. Borderlands is better with friends. If you play it alone, there is something deeply wrong with you. Seek help. Seek guidance. Please. The final thing I just wanted to mention regarding Borderlands as an experience... Borderlands 4 has just announced its pre-orders, and they are terrifyingly expensive. I'll say that completely openly and bluntly. I saw that there's a $200 copy of the game, and I assumed that that was some rich, engaging, physical collector's edition. But it's not. It's like the digital ultra mega super extreme collector's edition, or, whatever fancy words they use. While I will endorse that the game is incredibly fun, please approach it from a fiscal place of responsibility, because I don't think we should encourage games that cost that much. Vote with your wallet. If you're interested in the game, just keep in mind that it's always one of those games that will eventually be marked down, but I'm not going to say don't play it. I'm just going to say play it when it is appropriate for you and your wallet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The long and short is standard edition, you get the game. Deluxe edition is $160. You get essentially the season pass and a skin. Super deluxe is $200. You get everything from the deluxe edition and some more skins. That's essentially it.
You get
even like
an extra gold
advanced access.
Gold Vault Hunter. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, the Vault Hunter pack featuring 2 new Vault Hunters and story packs. And the Ornate Order pack featuring new gear, weapons, and Vault Hunter cosmetics. So, yeah, $40 for a whole bunch of not a great deal.
Yeah.
Remember when Evolve?
So, yeah.
Like 2K.
Yes.
It was. This is still 2K, isn't it? Have we gone full circle? They're back.
Time
Ouroboros,
is a
baby.
loop, my friend. It is, yeah. Huh. So, yeah. Absolutely vibing with the game. I think it's great. I really can't wait to play it. But,
yeah,
Don't
I'm critically
buy
aware.
the $200 edition. That's fucking...
I mean, look,
insane.
If you have $200 lying around and you do not care about it, and you know that there's a track record that Borderlands does give out decent DLC, and you know it'll make you happy, go nuts. Spend the money you want to, but just keep in mind, they get cheaper. They always do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can't all be Zach Jackson hanging out in Liechtenstein every couple of weeks, so... You know what? You live within your means. Ash, thank you for your... massive preview hour. That was a lot of fantastic news. All 3 games sound good for different reasons.
Absolutely.
But we have some other reviews. We've got some shout outs to quickly run through from games that are out now and ready to play. We have got Date Everything, which Nathan, I don't know if this is enough of a visual novel for you to get around, but the wonderful Jade Garrett has reviewed this one and slapped a big old 8 out of 10 on it, saying, Date Everything is an addictive sandbox dating simulator where you'll love, friend, or hate all 100 voice-acted objects in your home. It features simple controls, is full of quirkiness, secrets, and has fun, loving story that will keep you entertained for countless hours. She buries the lead there in the wrap-up as well. Those 100 voice-acted objects... There are some heavy-hitting names on that voice cast.
Is there?
It's a bit wild. I'll bring up the list and I'll go through it momentarily.
There's an oscillating fan called Fantina.
Oh, good lord.
Do you boys want to hear something interesting?
Yeah,
is that not why I'm here?
I auditioned to voice something in that game.
Hey.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I didn't get in. I wish I could. I wish I could say I was like, Danny Doorstop or something like that, but no, I was late submitting, so.
Mate,
have you found any of the voice actors? Because it doesn't look to be advertised on their Steam page.
So you'd be surprised. Brendan Lee Mulligan from Critical...
Yeah,
from
Brennan's there.
Brennan's in there. Just
Ben Starr's in it because he's in everything at the minute.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is his moment. Yep.
There's lots of really great names that sort of go, yeah, that person, as opposed to, oh, yes, of course, that person.
No Danny DeVito?
Can you imagine?
If only.
Can you imagine?
Bruh.
Danny DeVito,
That's
the
the
toaster.
couch. Yes.
You know.
Yes, Adam. I would play this. I don't know if I'd finish it, but it's definitely enough of a Nathan game for me to give it a crack.
It's
I
Nathan
love
coded for sure.
Yeah. I love the idea of a game, like a bunch of developers saying, let's make the fucking final boss of dating simulators, you know? Let's make something that just blows everything else out of the water. Oh, you've got 8 boyfriends that you could, fuck you, 100 household items. Yeah, that's right. Dunny brush? Yeah. Fucking do it. Go for it.
I just hope it gets weird enough with it. Don't back down. If we got to deliver on the premise. Get real weird.
Well, if you'd like to know exactly how weird it gets with it, make sure to check out the Date Everything review on WellPlayed from our good friend Joe. Make sure.
Yes.
You're damn right. You know what else has been reviewed recently? By the good doctor himself, Kieran Stockton. He reviewed The Alters. He said, 11-Bit Studios strikes again with a fresh take and setting that borrows from the brilliant mechanics of this war of mine and sends them into space. He whacked a big old 8 out of 10 on that bad boy, Ash Whaling.
Now, this is the game where, like, you are a dude trapped on a planet that something bad's happening on the planet, and the only way you can escape is by recruiting alternate dimension versions of yourself to, like,
Correct.
start making an escape rocket or something. So you got to get, like, an engineer you and then a botanist you and all this other stuff, and it's just hundreds of you and stuff.
Yeah, correct. So it's
Love
essentially split into 2 parts of one half is kind of like Fallout Shelter kind of situation. It's if you have played this War of Mine, it's the kind of base systems that are involved in that. And then there's also third-person exploration on the alien planet as well. So it's kind of a game of 2 halves. But yeah, Kieran had a really good time with it. I definitely was had my name down to review this, but then Death Stranding had other things to say about that, but I'm glad that he enjoyed it. Slapped a big old 8 out of 10. He had a chat to him earlier. He said he had a great time.
Good. Okay.
Awesome. I remember seeing the trailer for that and thinking it looked like an absolute slapper. So I love hearing
trailer.
that it did turn out good. Yeah.
Apparently it has got the secret sauce, which not all games do, Ash, and I'm glad you've brought this up. Moving into the news, we've got some not unexpected, but unfortunate news about Marathon, Bungie's extraction shooter. It's been delayed, and it hasn't just been delayed, it's been delayed indefinitely. It's not something that I think anyone was super shocked by, but they said, they being Bungie, the alpha test created an opportunity for us to calibrate and focus the game on what will make it uniquely compelling. Survival under pressure, mystery and lore around every corner, raid-like endgame challenges, and Bungie's genre-defining FPS combat. If you have read or listened to any previews that have been out, there was a big preview event that Bungie held. It was a multi-day kind of event. They brought in a bunch of journalists, a bunch of content creators with capital C's, and the sentiment coming out of that was pretty tepid. It was that, everything's tight, like the gunplay itself is tight. It's Bungie, of course it's going to be, but it doesn't have enough of an identity or a reason to keep coming back. Was that kind of what you garnered, Ash?
It's weird, isn't it, when, like, the biggest problem with Marathon is that it doesn't have enough of an established identity to make you want to keep revisiting it. When you look at the thing and it's like dripping with, setting and aesthetic and all this other stuff. Apparently, like tough, tight gunplay and an incredibly, like, blisteringly sharp visual style. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, I think a big part of it too, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have anybody disagreeing here, is that extraction shooters. Like, what can you do? What can you say? Like, it's weird that we've reached this point where I think there's a lot of hard lessons coming out of the development space where people are like, if you build it, maybe they won't come.
I think it... Nathan Hennessy.
Just a quick anecdotal point between us, but I find that people that like extraction shooters already kind of have theirs. Do you find folks that kind of migrate around the genre a whole heap?
Really don't. I like, that's the thing. I know people who fucking love battle royale games. They'll play every new one that comes out. They are always looking for the next reinvented look at that particular genre. They are buzzing at the idea. And I know plenty of them because I don't like that genre, so I live vicariously through them.
Yeah.
With extraction shooters, and I'm not the most popular guy in the world, but I've got a decent network. The people who I know play extraction shooters have their favorite extraction shooter.
That's what I thought.
And they play it. And they are dedicated to it. I've got mates who tell me, oh, yeah, Hunt the Showdown. Excellent. Play the shit out of it.
That's the example I was going to give. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mates
I've
don't
got people who
move on
go,
from that.
I've got mates who just go, I fucking hate Tarkov, but I can't stop playing it. It's like, okay, fair enough. And then I ask them, like, are you guys going to play a marathon? They're like, nah.
No.
I'm too busy hating Tarkov.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a barrier to entry with that genre that the Battle Royale doesn't have, because while Battle Royales are technically high stakes, right? One team or one individual wins. You drop in, you kind of freely get into firefights with anyone and everyone, and if you die, you just re-roll and you're back into it. Extraction shooters,
we go
you
again!
have to, yeah, but you have to earn...
Your loadouts and shit, there's stakes.
Yeah. If you
do.
eat shit in a Battle Royale game, you're sort of just back to
You shrug
where
it
you were.
off. Yeah.
Exactly. With an extraction shooter, you have spent all of that time amassing what you think is going to be something that leads to success. And if that gets taken away from you, there is a breed of person where they get a high off that. And
They love
then
it.
there's everyone else that goes, that's fucked. I just spent an hour for nothing. And it Battle Royales, if you lose, just don't have that same punishing aspect to it. So it's like it's an upward battle on its own. But I also think Marathon is fighting against Arc Raiders, which is another extraction shooter that has quite a striking visual identity, that has been having all of these tests month after month after month.
Community
that are really
hype is there.
positive.
Yeah.
They've built a community around it, and there's
No price tag still?
no price tag still.
Yeah.
Exactly right. They're doing all of the right things, and I mean, Marathon can look as beautiful as it likes, but if it doesn't build that community and it has a price tag and they're shady about the price tag, and then you throw on, like, that's all without mentioning the art theft of it all, it's just bad news story after bad news story for Bungie.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
just...
Demoralizing.
It is. I'd
Yeah.
hate to be... I'd hate to be working in those offices, because...
Well, you see, like, there's literal headlines that says that, like, you know, it is dire at Bungie headquarters. Like, it is.
Yeah, the
a
morale
terrible
is in
environment.
free fall, is the wording that I keep hearing, and that is horrendous. You hate to see it. When it got announced, I hoped for the best for this game, but it's looking rough.
To pivot to one final query before we move away from this topic, the question I have is, do we think that an indefinite delay, an indefinite suspension of its release date, are they going to be able to pull something together that's more compelling to players? Like, what do they do? What's the strategy from here? Like, they can't vanish for 6 months and come back and say, Marathon, now with 100% less stolen assets. Like, that's...
Well, I think the tricky thing is because they do outline what they want to change. There are 3 core tenets that they want to change. It's upping the survival game, so they're making it more challenging against AIs, more rewarding runs, making combat more tense and strategic. Fantastic. They're adding more social experiences, so they're putting in prox chat, which is fucking wild that they didn't have it to begin with, and a better player experience for solo and duos. Fantastic. It's this third one that is the concerning one. Doubling down on the Marathon universe. More narrative and environmental storytelling to discover and interact with. A darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy. You can't inject enough story and character into this game in the time frame that they're insinuating they will be extending this out to.
I don't know if you remember, but I remember watching that big live stream reveal 2 months back or whatever, they were like, yeah, we've got an idea for a story. Like, at that point, we've got an idea for a story.
Yep. Wild. Are you fucking joking? They literally said, we've got the game mechanics down, we'll think about the story later.
Yeah, we'll see you in September.
Insane.
We'll see you in September with a story.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So, yeah, that's tough.
Well, I think the game, it will launch. I 100% think it'll launch, but fuck, man. It is dire.
Oh, dear. I mean, it's Bungie. Maybe they'll just jump into the archives and every character in Marathon will have a little floating friend and they'll call it a a boast, and it will talk about the story in the world, and it'll say, that wizard came from the moon.
Bring back Peter Dinklage. He was robbed. He was fucking robbed. You know what? Enough about Marathon. Enough about Bungie. Let's talk about other things that...
I like that we were pivoting to Destiny. I was almost there for that, but then pulled the rug out.
Get out of it. Let's talk about something that we thought was going to be shit, but ended up being actually good. Bloober Team are back on for another Silent Hill remake. This time, Silent Hill the First. How do we feel about this? Nathan, you played Silent Hill 2 remake, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm pretty up to date on a lot of my Silent Hill. So I finished the first one, finished the OG second, done the remake of the second, done the OG third. I'm happy for a remake of the first or the third, but the first is definitely the one that needs it more, because the back half of that game is real wonky donkey. So there's a lot of scope for Bloober to just come in with free reign and do some weird, wild stuff, kind of like how they filled in the gaps in 2. I'm curious to see what they do.
Do you reckon Bloober's got like a real strut on now that they feel completely fucking vindicated, considering that everyone was like, this remake is gonna be terrible, and then it's like, you know what? Check it out. It's good.
I was ragging on them. They deserve to have a strut.
I was there as well.
This podcast was a rough time for Bloober. we were not kind on
Look,
hey, team.
In our defense, we were commenting on what we were seeing, and what we were seeing didn't instill confidence. So maybe the marketing strategy will swap or change. Maybe they'll pull a Rockstar and be like, we don't have to say anything. The results will speak for themselves. I mean, leading with a combat trailer. Come on, guys. You're not off the hook.
Yeah, nah. Wild. I am curious to see how Chronos pans out, their next new IP. That's looking good, and that's looking okay. Sorry, Nathan. And they've got a lot of goodwill from Silent Hill 2 remake. So I'm hoping that they build on that. Hey, you can only hope. I'm not going to say that it was a slow news week, but Ash, you have got what is an absolute ripper of a headline. You.
Look, hey, sometimes something happens in the gaming sphere that it's front-loaded. It's 90% headline and that's it. And it gives me great pleasure to say to everyone here, Dr. Doom dominated a Tekken tournament before getting disqualified for throwing dunny roll at the commentators. This is a real thing that happened. So, CEO 2025, the Fighting Game Championships are kicking off. It's in Orlando. It's a big event. It's a live event. Everyone loves a fighting game live event because that's where it's stuff where stuff happens. It's where legends are made. So, yeah, a dude dressed as Dr. Doom and registering himself under the name of Joe Budden rocked up during the initial match pools and absolutely crushed a Tekken pro called Bilal, who had come all the way from Pakistan with an undefeated record, crushed him in 2 sets. Dressed as Dr. Doom. And that, everyone thought that was pretty funny. When he won the second set, he stood up and held up a packet of toilet paper and kept tapping the words ultra soft on there. So everyone was like, okay, he's got a look, he's got a catchphrase, no worries. People were like generally really, really vibing with the idea of we want to see this guy all the way through, but then apparently he completely shit the bed when he decided to try charging backstage and threw the toilet paper at the commentators. Now, in the moment where it happened, the commentators laughed it off. It's toilet paper, guys. He wasn't throwing knives at you. It was dunny roll. But the officials had a different thought and said, hey, he was warned not to do the thing. He did the thing. That's critical failure. And he got booted. So Bilal did manage to get back into the pools. Good for him. But there was a very real chance that the toilet paper Dr. Doom, Joe Budden, could have made it through to the actual finals.
We've been robbed. We've been robbed of the true finals of that fighting tournament, clearly. Mate, what a ridiculous fucking headline. I love that you're a bloodhound for these.
Mate, if something makes me laugh, I have to share it with the world. And if I can write something that brilliant, it's art to me, okay?
When I first saw the headline, I must have been delirious because I read it as MF Doom. So I was like, oh, we've discovered a hidden MF Doom story. Like, he was actually a pro at Tekken. And then had this like dark twist of fate where he was also tossing Danny Roll. Like, well, sure, MF Doom could probably do that, yeah.
There is a funny twist on the story that Joe Budden, everyone's like, oh haha, it's a meme about Joe Biden, but no, Joe Budden
I thought you were talking about the rapper.
Yeah, there's legitimately a rapper called Joe Budden, because the dude's wearing a mask. Everyone's like, is it Joe Budden? Joe Budden's like, no, I don't play Tekken. Fuck off. It's like,
Yeah, that's what someone who's trying to keep their identity secret would say.
yeah,
I
exactly.
reckon.
But do you reckon he'll get a sponsorship from some toilet roll company?
I reckon he'll get a cease and desist from Marvel. Is what he'll get.
It was Robert Downey Jr. Oh my god, it all makes sense now.
Marvel getting real
Different
weird with the
mask,
marketing.
same task, baby. You love to see it. Look, it hasn't been a massively huge news week, so that's all of the true headlines that we've got for you. We're into the off-topics portion, boys. Have we listened to, watched, read anything of note lately? Ash Whaling?
I haven't watched things. I've been too busy going to preview events and junk. But
Yeah, right.
holy shit, so we're approaching Superman.
Oh, it's close.
Or
It's
Fantastic
close.
July 11th?
Yeah, July
Fucking
11th.
Fantastic Four. DC's back, baby. I'm going to be as toxic as I can possibly
Well,
be.
Back. Thunderbirds
If we're
was-
gonna-
Thunderbirds, Thunderbolts. It's a ripper.
Thunderbolts. It was
New
good.
Thunderbirds would be good.
It would be great. If we're going to talk about toxicity and the DC universe, can I just share what is currently tickling me as an off-topic thing?
The Snyder kids.
Yes. So, as they get closer to the release of James Gunn's Superman, there is now this growing movement, much in the same way that there's a bowel movement. There's people that are like posting their super deluxe plans on how to tear down the Gunn DC universe, and they legit have these call to actions on social media. It's like, post as many spoilers as possible. The one that I love is post as many spoilers as possible, tell people you saw the movie and it was shit. But this one tickled me. This one's amazing because it's so petty. When the showings reach your area, jump on the website for the theaters and just go through the purchase process as if you were going to buy out an entire row.
Oh, I get
And then
it.
just sit on the checkout because it locks those seats from being available for 10 minutes.
Yeah, for 10
and then
minutes.
that might be a ticket that's lost, and if we all do it, they'll have empty cinemas, and then they can't say no to bringing Zach back.
So why is it that Zack Snyder, in the not so distant past, was given essentially a blank check to make the film that he wanted to, and he chopped it up into parts, and it was fucking dog shit? Do they not have any recollection of this, or I don't?
You got to
care.
keep
Who
it.
gives a
No.
fuck?
Just on that point, for the sake of pointing it out, it's purely a feeling of power that these people have inherited. Look, they all kicked and screamed and
We made
gnashed
the
their
Snyder
teeth.
cut happen.
And they said, "Bring out the Snyder Cut," and then DC was like, yeah, probably make money. Yeah, make the Snyder Cut." And all these people going, "Oh my God, we have the power. We control Hollywood," and they think that that's still a case. But I mean, these companies go where the money is. They decided to make the Snyder Cut because they thought, there's enough drooling shit eaters that want to watch it. We'll make it for them. That's fine. Hey, we
watched
made
it.
some money. Cool. I did too.
Fuck's
We had to
sake.
get a HBO Max subscription to watch it if you're in the States, so I guess that's
True. I know they got you there. But
Capitalism.
the moral of this story is just simple, that if Superman is showing in your area and you go onto the website to buy your ticket and an entire row appears to be locked down, just wait 10 minutes and grab that seat, mate. Just do it.
Jesus, Nathan, tell me you haven't.
I'll
been
be doing
that.
my part by not giving a shit. I'll just see the movie like a normal person.
I saw
Please.
Thunderbolts. I liked Thunderbolts. I had fun with
So-
Thunderbolts.
So did I, Nathan. And guess who here hasn't seen Thunderbolts after promising he'd go see it?
Oh, piss off, Ash! I was too busy going to previews.
I was finally pleased to go.
I still
see a
made
Marvel
time for
film
Thunderbolts!
in cinema that I felt good about.
I did want to go see it, but you enjoyed it as well then?
Absolutely, yeah. 2 thumbs
It's-
up from
it's-
me. I was so surprised.
It's character-driven media, which we are sorely in need of when it comes to fucking comic book movies.
Well,
maybe
now that
I'm
Nathan
too soft on
has-
it because we've had a slew of such mediocre films where my bar's been lowered, but whatever.
Yeah. Look, I think Florence Pugh deserves the world, and I'll give it to her. One ticket stop at a time.
Look, she's come a long way since Black Widow, thank fuck, because
She's come a long way since fighting with my family, I'll have you know.
Yeah, forget about that. Good on her.
Christ alive.
I'm so glad that film
boy.
didn't drag her down.
Well, tell you what, now that someone has recommended the film to me, being Nathan, I'm gonna
me.
watch it. I'm gonna make the effort to watch it.
Old Ash Marvel sycophant wailing, watching another film and telling me to watch it, knowing full well it's probably shit.
But no, my sad thing while I was away was the third season of The Wheel of Time came out, because I've been reading those books. They've been my current read up to the seventh book. It got cancelled after the best season. What are you doing, Amazon? Fuck. So like, I guess now I've got to content myself with The Witcher, which I mean, the third season was an improvement, but I haven't been enjoying it, so I'm sad.
An improvement?
Maybe I can get I thought the third season was an improvement. The third season was the only season I enjoyed, because it was the only one that started to get towards the books. It's like, oh, okay, like the other two were just fucking around. But I don't know.
Fair.
Let's get the Snyder Cut folks back, and we can. They're trying to do a campaign. They've already got, I don't know how many. Save the Wheel of Time. I hate.
This is the fax number for Amazon. Start faxing. Bring back Wheel of Time, and we will destroy their toner cartridges.
Where have they gotten to on their signatures? Hey.
How many
there's a
accounts have
petition.
you made?
There's over 100.
How many accounts? Nathan Hennessy, bring back The Witcher. Bring back Wheel of Time. Hathan Hennessy also agrees.
Fuck. You love to see it. I've got a 2000s film of the week for you, boys. Would you like to hear it?
Okay.
I suppose.
Yeah, you've missed it, Nathan. I can tell. I can see it in your eyes.
3 seconds.
This film came out in 2005. Space Marines are sent on a mission to Mars to investigate mishaps in a remote research facility.
We've already done Doom.
However, fuck off, we have. I
We've
checked the
done Doom.
doc.
Is it Doom?
It's Doom.
It is
But
Doom.
we've done Doom.
It's Doom.
I
told you.
checked the spreadsheet, Nathan.
It's not on the
I never
spreadsheet,
checked the
but we've done Doom.
spreadsheet.
Somebody didn't add it to the spreadsheet.
I'm pretty sure it was James that pulled out Doom too. So
Probably.
Well, I have reasons to speak with James, and I've just put that one on the list. So, James,
do you have
we're
a
about to have
follow up?
words.
Do you have another one in the bag there, mate?
Nah, you only get one. Fuck you.
Well, just before we move off this, I was actually going through my DVD collection the other day, and I discovered my
Did you
copy
disc
of-
wallet?
Yeah, no, in actual cases. But I actually found that I had this cover of the Doom film.
Is that
The
bootleg?
cover that makes it... No, it's an actual real one. But it's sort of the case of they made a cover that didn't have The Rock and Carl Urban on it.
Yeah.
They just had a gun to be like, oh, this is definitely like the game that you're familiar with.
There was that one scene. There was that one
one
first-person scene.
Yes, there was.
Let's
I've
all
got a film if you want to do a redemptive. Yeah?
Oh,
Let's
let's
have
do
it.
it.
I'll go a quick one for you. So this one's a 2007 comedy about a group of suburban motorbiped wannabes looking for adventure, hit the open road. They get more than they bargained from when they encounter a New Mexico gang called the Del Fuegos. This is a heavy hitter lineup of comedy greats. I'm going to start by giving you one of them, Martin Lawrence.
Oh,
As the timer
Jesus.
ticks down, I'll give you another one. The second one will probably get you back to where you need to be. William H. Macy.
It's Wild Hogs.
There we go.
It's
You got
Wild
it.
Hogs.
I thought once I give him the second of the four, I could have gone John Travolta, but I thought, no, that's a blowout. We'll immediately
That's
have it.
a big one. No, Wild Hogs. But I'd also had who was the guy that played Dr. Cox from Scrubs?
It had
He
Ray
played-
Liotta. Had a
John C. McGinley played an aggressively sexual road cop in that thing. Remember?
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I watched
There's
this
a
film
scene.
like 12 times.
There's a
and I
scene where they
still
have to
don't
stay
wanna
the
remember.
night on the side of the road, and they're sleeping in the same sort of sleeping bag or something. And John C. McGinley's just like, "You boys shouldn't be here, but if you make room for me, I'll let you off with a warning." It's like,
Jesus
and
Christ.
he plays it so fierce. I was like, "Oh, this is funny. That's Dr. Cox."
Marissa Tomei.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, the cast
Oh,
is
man.
weird. I'm looking through it now. Anyway, I'm sure Zach has this in the disc wallet. I'm sure this was a big favourite of his back. in the day.
William H. Macy is such a genuinely funny dude. Like, I love him every time. Like, have you seen
He's
Mystery
probably
Men where he
had the
plays the
best
shoveler?
career out of all four of them in terms of
Probably.
like reputably speaking. He's probably made the least money, but I'd be the least embarrassed of the four of them.
Which
I mean,
one do you want to have
Shameless
a
was
beer
great.
with? Which one do you want to have a beer with? The one that won't just go glassy-eyed halfway through it and be like, that was when my career died.
Yeah, the
Jesus
least
fucking
lizard
Christ.
person of them. Yeah.
Death of a career is the perfect place to end it, you pack of fools. If you want to read any of our content, head over to well-played.com.au. Head over to our socials. I'm not going to fucking read them out. We've got a YouTube as well. Please do go over there. Ash has been absolutely pumping videos as of late. He's got more to come. I've been made aware.
So much.
But until next week, enjoy your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're listening to us from, and we'll see you then.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Sounds like a day.
Bye.
Until then, bye.